Hidden away in the mountains is a lake that expands 45 acres of water and 950 acres of woodland. The pristine beauty of the lake is not disturbed by the tourist, logging, or mining. Once a strip mine area, the now reclaimed land is one of the most picturesque lakes. Used by avid photographers and fishermen, the lake is rarely used as a camping ground, even though the area has several places for tent and RV setups. For years, Fishpond was one of the most well-kept secrets in Jenkins. It is 2.5 miles from Jenkins, Kentucky. While the lake has not developed as planned, it is still a place where local residents come to fish, camp, and walk the scenic routes. County officials approached Beth-Elkhorn Coal Company in 1961. The goal was to have the coal company donate land. The plan was to use this land to construct a recreational lake. Beth-Elkhorn agreed and donated 860 acres. At the headwater, 35 acres belonged to a private individual. Organizations raised funds to buy this land for $3,500. The now 895 acres belong to the county. The lake's location is 1 mile west of Pine Gap, Kentucky, 2.5 miles southwest of Jenkins, Kentucky. US 119 will grant access to the lake. The land surrounding Fishpond came from a strip mine reclamation project. There were several places to accommodate several future projects. A dam with a 2.5-mile loop surrounding the lake. The loop begins where the road splits at the fork. The lake would have a companion named Little Laurel Park. The state of Kentucky hired Adams Construction Company to construct the dam. The water would fill 45 acres of this land. A concept plan for the remaining acreage of land came later. The construction of the dam was complete in 1964. The state refused to deed the remaining 15 acres surrounding the dam to the county. The state's refusal in giving Letcher County the deed to the land caused problems. Letcher County felt that it was no longer responsible for the cleanup and upkeep. As the lake and surrounding area began to deteriorate, it became a hangout for those that wanted to destroy things. This article is found in the Mountain Eagle, The Way We Were, Thursday, May 15, 1969. A huge thank you to Ella Polly for discovering this article for us. A Mountain Eagle editorial praises Yale University students and local officials for working together to transform the Fishpond Lake into a model of a community park. The editorial urges Letcher County to take steps to make sure that its new recreation facilities are properly supervised and maintained. The area Jaycees became involved with the lake during August of 1971. The Jaycees wanted a long-term lease on the land. The county refused to lease the land as they did not own the entire lake area. On September 30, 1971, the state released the deed. The property went to the Letcher County Physical Court of Letcher County. After that point, the county now owns all the Fishpond Lake area.
All right, Fishpond Lake here, and one of the first signs here is about coal. It says coal mining has had a significant impact on the economy and environment of Letcher County and Kentucky. The eastern Kentucky coal fields cover 10,500 square miles, which include 37 counties. Coal was formed from plant material that decayed and was changed under heat and pressure 300 million years ago. More than one-half of the coal in the United States is in Kentucky. Fishpond Lake was created as part of a strip mining reclamation project. The hillside in front of you and many other in Letcher County have been shaped by mining activities. Coal mining cannot be done without some land disturbances, often significant, and can contribute to water quality damage. Coal mining is currently the second largest employer in Letcher County, 1999. Although the amount of coal extracted from Letcher County remains high, the number of mining jobs in Letcher County has decreased 35 cents since 1990. Coal is currently the current primary energy source in the state. 95% of the electricity generated in Kentucky is produced from coal-fired plants. It takes about 1 pound of coal to light one 100-watt light bulb for 10 hours. That information is incorrect because 8 pounds of coal produces 250,000 BTU and will burn for 8 hours. Now that's something new since I've been here. I didn't know they were doing campers up there. Beach. Oh. What's this? Got somebody around? Oh. Flora identification. Catawba rhododendron. Catawba rhododendron. It is an evergreen shrub with clusters of large white pale pink flowers, 2 to 2.5 inches wide. Its dark green leaves are leathery and 2 to 6 inches long. Mountain laurel is a large evergreen shrub, 3 to 15 foot tall, with a showy cluster of 3/4 to 1 inch pinkish white flowers that bloom from May to July. Its leaves are 2 to 4 inches and grows in open hardwood forests. Prairie coneflowers. It is a 1 to 1.5 inch tall slender hairy stem plant with flowers 3 to 5 inches long, drooping with yellow petals and dark brown cones or centers. It grows in dry woods and blooms from June to September. There is the prairie coneflower, the mountain laurel, and that is the Catawba rhododendron. That's what it is, rhododendron.
An agreement was finally reached between the Jaycees and the Fiscal Court. The terms of the lease were as follows. Letcher County leased the lake to the Jaycees. The lease would end when the state or the Jefferson National Park took the lake. The Jaycees were responsible for all upkeep and land management of the Fishpond Lake. They were also responsible for policing the area. According to the deed from the state of Kentucky, the Jaycees cannot charge for access to the lake. They may ask for donations for upkeep, but cannot charge a fee of any kind. This hurt the upkeep of the lake and posted a financial burden upon the Jaycees. The area Jaycees have made attempts to have the Jefferson National Forest take the lake. In 1971, a board of governors convened for decisions about the lake. John Billiter served as the first chairperson of the board from October 7, 1971 to January 15, 1972. Because of political reasons, the board added 11 members that year. No other information was available about them or even if they are still active. On February 7, 1972, 6 Jaycees along with Congressman Perkins went to Washington. The purpose was to promote Fishpond Lake. They met with the Bureau of Outdoor Recreation and the Acquisition Resource Center. A plan of action was outlined for the lake and the goals that it would try to do. This was a 20-year plan.
We're going to go down into one of the first campgrounds up here. Back in the 80s, this was an official Boy Scout camp. at this campground we're going to go to. And about 1983, we had a jamboree up here, and scouts come from all over the United States, and we cleaned this lake up. And they were going to turn it into an official Boy Scout camp, the entire lake. But there was a problem with the deed and the way that everything was situated out, and so that ended up not happening. Here we go, Boy Scout campground. They even still got a Boy Scout camp or Boy Scout troop here. We'll get a good view of the lake right down here. As you can see, the really nice forest here. It's nice and quiet. Good place to come and camp if you're in Letcher County, Kentucky. And we got bathrooms here, picnic tables, swing set. That's not one of the picnic tables that we made. At one time there was a lot of picnic tables here that the Boy Scouts had made and set in here. But that's been years ago. Right down here there's a boat dock on the lake. Get a good view of the lake. Hold on, I'll zoom in. It's actually a very beautiful place. And there's the other side of the lake. Give it a second here to focus on something. Pretty reflection off the lake. Really good catfishing in here. There's trout in here, bass, crappie. See what?
2,500 pounds, 3 times a year.
Jason says they stock this lake with 2,500 pounds of fish 3 times a year. No motors are allowed on this lake, gas-powered motors. You can use a trawling motor on it. And one time they were pumping water out of this lake to Jenkins Lake because they had a water shortage there in Jenkins. But I grew up coming up here fishing all as long as I can remember, from the time I was a little boy, coming up here with my aunt and uncle, and then coming up here with Jason and us catfishing. And I lost an antique lantern up here one night that way. We had been fishing all night, and I set it down to cool down, and I've been daggone if I didn't drive off and leave it. You remember that?
Construction for an exhibit center that would accommodate 250 people. This would give information about coal and the forest industries. Included would be tours of the surrounding strip mines. There would be 10 family group campsites. This area would accommodate groups such as the Boy Scouts. Restrooms, group tables, 10-car parking would be available. This site should also contain space for tents and other camping equipment. These sites should be in the lower half of the lake. There would be several small campsites. Both group and small campsites would sit on the west side of the lake near the dam area. The spillway will provide a divider for this area from the exhibition site. This area would accommodate 30 families. Transit family campsites for people passing through Jenkins. These campsites would be north of the lake and should accommodate 20 campers. A beach would be constructed for 350 swimmers and onlookers. The location will be at the back of the lake. There will be a large play and sunbathing area. Parking for this area would be on either side and behind the beach. The beach will be within easy walking distance of the campsites. For small children, a roped-off area with lifeguards on duty. A group picnic facility able to hold 200 people, 10 family picnic sites, 6 small picnic sites, construction of an observation tower. This would show the conservation of the area. Places for nature study, removal of the slate dump behind the beach. An information center would sit where the mine fire once burned. The function is to welcome visitors. Pamphlets and information are available inside. These would contain services available in the towns of Neon and Jenkins. There will be a public telephone available for overnight guests of the lake. There will be 2 shower rooms constructed. There will be a play area for children. Foot trails will tie the lake together with the park. There will be a road built across the spillway with a bridge. There will be a concession stand built. This will serve both hot and cold sandwiches and drinks, as well as fishing supplies. There will be a bathhouse constructed for swimmers and sunbathers.
We're here at one of the campgrounds, as you can see. Those people may be up here for the disaster relief here in eastern Kentucky. As you can see, there are articles of clothing and everything under that building there. And there you can see the campers or the people that's here to help. This is one of the bathrooms. And here is Fishpond Lake rules. No drugs or alcohol, no camping under shelters, drive slow because of kids and pedestrians, no littering, no loud noise after 11 p.m. because of other campers, no swimming, speed limit 10 miles per hour, strictly enforced. Do not cut live trees, hunting and fishing license is required. No fires within 25 feet of any building or shelter. Please enjoy and keep the park, the lake, and the bathrooms and the camping areas clean. Like I said, this is the lake's probably about 100 years old, to tell you the truth, because it was part of land reclamation. I'm not sure about strip mining. I know there was regular mining here, and up at the upper end of the lake, there are some buildings in it. I know Joanna will cut in some additional history of the lake when she edits this to put it on the web. Do what? Yeah, pull it up and I'll just pull it up just right. I'll zoom in on it. As you can see, this was not here when we grew up. They've added this RV park, and there's a set of rules for it. Fishpond Lake, RV park rules and regulations. Park attendant will come by between 6 to 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. for check-in. Electricity and water will be turned on at that time. Checkout time is promptly by noon. An RV site with electric service, water and sewer via pump station will cost, let's say, $5 a night? $15 a night, with or without service. The maximum length of the stay is limited to 14 consecutive days in any 30-day period. Quiet hours are from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily. Excessive noise during this period is prohibited. No portable generators are allowed. Parents are responsible for the children at all times and should supervise them accordingly. The discharge of gray water or any other waste material, waste liquid is prohibited. The washing of vehicles, campers, and ATVs or equipment is prohibited. Local law prevents alcoholic beverages at the park. That's a good one. Fires are permitted only in provided fire rings. Fires must be contained inside solid fire ring. Please put all trash in designated dumpsters, and you will be responsible for cleaning up your designated site before you leave. All pets must be kept on a leash at all times. The camping will be permitted in tent camping will be permitted in designated areas. Letcher County Tourism Reservations, 606-634-1814. I keep telling her she needs to make her some business cards. When we were growing up, all this RV park was not here, but there were several picnic shelters through here. Yeah. All these people here are because of the severe flooding that happened in eastern Kentucky, and Letcher County was really hard hit. The local newspaper says it's been 4 weeks and still they don't know exactly how much damage was done here at the park. That's just the rules go on. There's another shelter, picnic shelter. As you can see, looks like food and water, various other items that are available here. Which reminds me, you need some more water?
Yeah,
Okay. Now we're going to go down here where me and Jason used to fish all the time. We'll get that and take a look at this little fall here. Looks like somebody lost a window. As you can see, there's water coming out of the hill right here. I guess it's a little spring. Matter of fact, it seems like I remember that being there. Here's a sign about the watershed, or about what a watershed is. It is a landscape around you that collects water, both rain and snow, that runs across the slope of the land or sinks into the soil to eventually find its way into creeks and rivers. The Fishpond watershed includes 360 acres around Fishpond Lake. Look at this map. If you pour a glass of water on the ground anywhere on the map, it will end up in Fishpond Lake. There's a map of the watershed and the lake. Individual watersheds are bounded by ridges or other dividers. However, all watersheds are connected to each other as water flows down one stream and empties into another. Many people do not realize that even if they are not near a body of water, all parts of Letcher County are in a watershed. What you throw out of your house or pour down a drain may end up in a creek 1 mile or 50 miles away. Watersheds affect many parts of our lives. They support air, water, soil, plants, animals, and people. Watersheds help connect many different parts of our lives. We all need clean water. Let's take a better look at this spring here for just a second. That's cold water right there. It's pretty warm today. It's probably 75 or 80. That's good and sweet water too. I know people used to come up here and get water here for their fish, for their aquariums. And I think, if I ain't mistaken, that water runs out of there year round. We're going to go down in right here. This used to be a recreation area here back in the 70s, and they actually had floats in there that you could swim out to and slide down. And there used to be a castle out there that had bathrooms and several other things. But when we were growing up, there used to be a tennis court right up there, and all this right here was empty. Now they put picnic tables and stuff. You get that thing. But me and Jason used to fish right here all the time. Right here and across the creek, there's a old boat ranch launch over there, and that's where we used to fish. Right up there is the picnic shelter where our Boy Scout camped out behind it up in the woods for the jamboree back in the 80s. Like I said, they used to swim here way back in the 70s. Well, they've redone that shelter, but it's not there in the same spot. Looks like they might have redozed it or something, because that's not as steep as it used to be. But our Boy Scout troop 352, they rebuilt that shelter, but we camped right there at that shelter. And there's a ravine behind it, and we built a primitive rope bridge across that ravine and actually put our tents up in the woods there. But they've dozed all this out right here and made this more flat. But it used to be higher here, and right there is a little hill, and you go up there, and we made that rope bridge across the ravine up there, and we had all of our tents right up in there. That side is tore down. Oh, that side, what is it? Forest husbandry. I'll go over and get it. Not sure what that foundation was for right there, but you can see it's made out of rock covering a concrete slab. So it may at one time been an outhouse or something like that. Not sure. It may have been a barbecue pit. I'm going to walk right over here and take a look at this little creek. It's called Little Laurel Branch. Right there. Sign says Forest Hydrology and Hydropower. This is a study of water dealing with the unique behavior of water in a forest, the ecosystem. This flume and stilling well are used to aid our understanding of water movement. The flume measures the stream flow, the amount of water flow through the stream per time unit. A stilling well measures the height of the water. Streaming flow measurements are important to ensure a good supply of water that all living creatures and plants require for life and growth. Hydropower. Manual and electric power can be created or generated by the use of water. Mechanical use of water has been used for centuries around the world to ease people's labor. Some of the uses have included the irrigation of gardens and operating mills to grind corn and wheat to make meal and flour. Now here's the little pond and everything they were talking about, and it looks as if it's broke down or been taken out. but that little pond behind it is filled up. As you can see, it's made like a little dam right there, overflowing, and there's the flume that they were talking about, but it's no longer turning a water wheel down there. So I'm not sure how long that's taken out, but that system right there could be 50, 60 years old. Who knows? As you can see, that's a pretty nice little creek down there. And it flows right into the lake here. Now up there used to be tennis courts, and I think a basketball court, but we're going to go up there and take a look at it here in a minute. I'll zoom in and get this flume. See the way that works? And there should be a water wheel down there, but it's no longer there. Just something interesting here at Fishpond Lake. You got a nice little bench here. That water falling down there to just about make you go to sleep. There's another view of the lake. It's actually a beautiful lake. What do they got up there where the tennis courts were? What do they got up there now? There's that creek again.
You go up here and come back.
Okay.
Marsh wetland.
There's the old walkway that used to go up to the tennis courts. That's part of the ATV trail. Yep. This is one of the ATV trails, and there really isn't a sign here, but that's what it is. It says, this trail dedicated to Roger Breeding, ATV enthusiast and proud supporter of Letcher County. One of the ATV trails up here. They put all that in since I was a kid. Had some hiking trails up here back then. There's some old-fashioned touch-me-nots. See them little orange flowers there? Right over there's a whole bunch of them. Hold on, I'll zoom in on them here. Get you a good look. But those little orange flowers right there that you see, those are the old-fashioned touch-me-nots. They get a little seed pod on them, it's black. And as soon as you touch them, they'll pop. Alright, that's cool. There's one of the old paths to the tennis courts that used to be all the way to the hill here. Looks like people have been running an ATV up there. As you know, it gets to I'm not sure exactly what the mining company was that was originally up here. They may have torn down the building that was in the lake down here, but they were right here. We're going to look at this sign here about marsh wetlands. You what? I can't read this really good, but it's about the black willow. The Native Americans used these saplings, noted for their flexibility, for poles in their sweat lodges. I can't even see one. There's a sign there about it, the black willow, Salix nigra, or nigra. I got this sign here, man. I don't even see one of them trees. I said they got this sign here about the black willow, and I don't even see one.
Right here. This stuff growing right here.
That?
Yeah.
Okay. Jason says that right there is the black willow. And I'm going to guess that that's awful young. He says that is black willow. I was looking at it and I thought it was a weed. All kinds of different plants in here. There's a mimosa tree. And that's a mimosa tree. And those mimosa trees, they depend on the carpenter wasp to trim their limbs, but to keep them alive. But even though that happens, the black willows or the mimosa trees will die out ever so many years and be gone, and then all of a sudden they'll come back. Marsh wetlands. Wetlands are places where soil and water meet. They produce a special waterlogged soil, great for many forms of life. Wetlands provide good homes for a wide range of different plant species like arrowhead, water lily, cattail, sedge, and others. They are also great homes for many animals, including birds, small mammals, frogs, snakes, and insects. Wetlands clean the water we drink, help control flooding, and reduce erosions. Kentucky originally had 1.6 million acres of wetlands. Only 386,000 acres of wetlands remain. Wetlands in Kentucky support 1/3 to 1/2 of the state's endangered species. Now I wonder about that because the rivers haven't gotten any smaller or anything. I think they're talking about marshland, and yeah, marshland has shrunk.
Fishpond Lake has a large population of freshwater jellyfish, rainbow trout, carp, and largemouth bass, black crappie, bluegill, channel catfish, brown bullhead, warmouth, as well as other freshwater game fish. Yearly, the lake receives 6,000 trouts. These are from the stockings in January, April, May, and October. The current rules for the lake are no gas-powered boat engines, a valid Kentucky fishing license. Given the small size of the lake, electric motors and oars are permissible on boats. Swimming is currently not permitted.
Here we have some more flora identification. Right there's a tulip poplar tree. Small one. If you'll look there, that's the leaves and they look like tulips. But that's not how they get their name. When they get really big, like that white one you see right there, that's a tulip poplar. Way up in the top of the canopy up there, they get a little flower that looks just like a tulip. Flora identification. Solomon's seal. It is a greenish white, 1/2 to 3/4 inch bell-like flowers hanging from 8 to 36-inch arching stems. It blooms in woods from May to June. Native American and colonists ate the starchy rhizomes, which is like tuber-like roots. Chicory, and that's what it looks like. And here's chicory, and it says, chicory has a 1 to 4 inch stiff stem bearing 1.5 inch showy blue flowers in fields on roadsides from June to October. Roots can be roasted and ground as coffee substitute or additive. Common cattails. There used to be a lot more of those grew around here in the old strip mines. That's another thing. They talked about the marshlands disappearing. I wonder if they count the old strip roads and everything, because there's plenty of marshlands up there. You just about can't get through it because of them. They're a tall and stiff plant growing 3 to 9 inches tall, 3 to 9 feet tall. It has male and female flowers, tiny yellowish male flowers above a cylinder of female flowers that bloom from May to July in freshwater marshes. And there's a picture of the cattails. Sort of wish there was some here because I could show it to you. But we're going to look down at that boat dock there in a minute, and there used to be buildings under the water right there. As I said, these woods up here are very beautiful. All the woods here in eastern Kentucky up on the mountainsides and everything are usually very, very beautiful, even where they've strip mined. The strip mining leaves roads up through the hills and everything that you can get on with ATV. I've ridden horses over through there. I've walked them. All kinds of things. And let's go ahead and pull down in there. And it's really interesting. This is where I lost that lantern fishing one night with Jason. This is an old boat dock, and we were pulled up on this little path right there that you see, and parked. And probably about right there where that trash can is, I set that lantern down to cool. And we sat here for about 30, 40 minutes after we quit fishing, waiting for that lantern to cool. And then, like I said, drove off and left it. That might be the top of that building right there. I'm not sure. See, it's sort of a square looking bloom of algae. But when we were young, you could really see those buildings under there really good. Like I said, this is a very beautiful lake. Do what? Branch in the water. Oh.
There's 2 ducks.
Oh. Yeah, there's 2 ducks right there. Sitting on a branch. Well, if the camera will ever focus. There, it finally focused. I don't think they're ducks, but they're some kind of waterfowl. One of them might be a duck, but I don't see the webbed feet that you would normally see on a duck. Here we are coming up out of the boat dock. We took some pictures of the lake and some ducks that was there on a log on the lake. see the woods are absolutely beautiful. Even though it's a cloudy, overcast day and it keeps on sprinkling. It was raining really hard earlier, which is something these folks up here don't need, is more rain.
ATV trails are available in the park. There are 22 miles of legal riding trails around the lake. There are more plans to add to the trails at a later date than this posting. There are several campsites available with bathroom facilities. Yet currently there are no bathhouses. There is a fee for RVs to dump waste. The lake will close to camping rentals from November the 1st through February 28th. This is due to possible inclement weather.
We're pulled into an overlook of the lake here, and they actually mined coal here, but Pine Mountain, which this is an overlook, and it shows you can see Pine Mountain over here. Got some benches and stuff, and we're looking down the lake here, and that with the cloud on top of it is Pine Mountain. There's no coal in Pine Mountain. It's all limestone. And one of the things about it is the Great Teton, or Creton, which is one of the continental plates. It runs right along through here and butts up to Pine Mountain there. And in Dyer, Tennessee, we live on the edge of the Creton out there where it's like a peninsula, and that's where the New Madrid Fault is. And it's subducting part of Tennessee, and it formed Reelfoot Lake. But here's a sign about the geology of Pine Mountain. And you see there's a little cross section of it. Says, traveling through Pound Gap, you can see that rock strata beneath Pine Mountain are tilted upward. This sudden change in the type of angle of the rock strata in Pine Mountain is a result of the Pine Mountain thrust fault. A thrust fault is a tear in the upper part of the Earth's crust along which one block of strata is pushed up and over another. More than 275 million years ago, the Appalachian Mountains were formed by great collisions of the Earth's crust on the eastern margin of North America. What it's talking about there is, if you look at this map, and you'll see to your left there, you got layers of rock being pushed up, and on this side of it, the right side of it, you see layers of rock that's being crinkled. And the rock that you see on the right side is part of the Great Creton. This fault is the westernmost expression of the Appalachian upheaval and extends 125 miles from Elkhorn City, Kentucky to Jellicoe, Tennessee. Strata southeast of the fault are part of the block of the Earth's crust that has moved 4 to 11 miles laterally, that's up, and was thrust upward thousands of feet from its original position. You can imagine the force that was needed to move such a large block of the Earth's crust that distance. Information is provided by the Kentucky Geological Survey, University of Kentucky. We're going to do an article on the New Madrid Fault, and we'll talk about the Creton, which is some of the oldest rock on Earth that forms a lot of the flatland that runs from here up into Canada. And as I said, Pine Mountain is actually thrusting up onto that Creton, and that Creton don't move. And over in western Tennessee, there's a peninsula of the Creton, and it's actually folding under the Creton. And that's how come the New Madrid Fault happened, and that's why it went down. The Mississippi run backward for 3 days, and created Reelfoot Lake. Alright, we're pulling up out of this overlook here, continuing around Fishpond Lake in Lester County, Kentucky. It's a couple of miles to the northwest of the Pound Gap along Highway 119. There's actually several lakes in this area that were created from the old mining works. There's a tree, I guess it may have, considered it's got fresh new cuts on it, I'm gonna guess that tree fell during the flood that happened up here. Plenty of wood laying here. I guess the campers can come up here and get them some wood. There's another, what that is right there, that is actually a water runoff down into this road here. Their hills are full of those water runoffs, and sometimes you can see that there were little creeks there, and sometimes you can't because it's been so long since water actually flowed down them. The camera's got a good steady cam to it. What's down there? There's benches down there? As you can see, there's more tree fall here from the flood, and we're going to look down over here to one of the trails at some of the benches that's down there. That looks like maybe it's another ATV trail right there. And like I said, that's going right up one of the water overflows for the mountain here. But it looks like that one didn't get any water flowing down it. There's another tree that fell during the flood. Another ATV trail here. And it goes down, and I've actually fished down here at the bottom of this hill down there. But there's benches and stuff down there, and it goes right on out to the lake. As I said before, and I've said repeatedly, this is actually a beautiful place. There's a big yellow tulip poplar. Those trees get real big, and they're actually hardwood. Even though when you cut them down, they're pretty soft, but when they dry, they dry up hard as a rock. And the trees here are full of them. And the thing about that tulip poplar is you can cut that tree down, and within 2 years there'll be all kinds of second growth come up out of it. If you look right down there, you see some of the second growth poplar. See that one? That was probably a small tree, and now there's 2 others that come up that are exactly the same size of the one that was originally there. You can see there's three trees there. And so there's probably a stump right in the middle of them there, and that's second growth poplar. There's a sycamore tree. Got all that wood shavings on it. You can gather up them wood shavings from a sycamore tree, and it works really good to start a fire. Wow, look at that. That's actually fungus growing on the side of that tree, mushrooms and fungus. The tree is dead. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? They come up here and baptize people down there, don't they? Yeah. I know they do that down at the dam down here too. Getting a little bit of water on the camera because it is sprinkling a little bit. but that's okay. The reason I'm not looking through the windshield on this is because it is raining and the windshield is getting quite a bit of rain on it. Here's another flora identification. We're going to get out and take a look at it. It says cardinal flower. It has many brilliant red blossoms in an elongated cluster. It will grow 2 to 4 inches tall in most soil from July to September. This flower is enjoyed by hummingbirds. There's what it looks like. And this is the large flowering trillium. And these are all native here and they grow up here. I wonder what kind of tree that is. I'll show you the leaf here in a second. Says large flowering trillium. Its blossom has 3 white petals, 2 to 4 inches in size, and turns pink with age. It will grow 9 to 18 inches tall in rich woods, blooming from April to June. The leaves can be eaten as cooked greens. Again, that's what that looks like right there. Here we got the common milkweed. Milkweed's fun to play with. I played with it a lot when I was a kid. Its name comes from the milk-like substance in the stem. It is a tall 2 to 6 inches plant, or 2 to 6 foot plant, with pink half-inch clusters that flower from June to August. Sprouts, leaves, buds, and pods are edible when prepared. There's what the milkweed looks like, and those aren't leaves right there. They painted pods. The green one is the leaf. Those are pods, and those pods will get like a milky substance in them, and then when they get ripe they'll open up and it has seeds in it with long filaments of like silk, and they'll float off on the wind. But look at this tree right here. See that? Look how big those leaves are. I have no idea what kind of little tree that is, but those leaves are huge on that thing. And there's a lot of them here. Right there's one close. See the leaf? Here's another little picnic area with trash cans. They put these all over the place now. A lot more up here than when we were kids. And we're going to pull down in another little pull-off area here. Looks like just mostly a little picnic area. Sign said no camping. There's an old bench there and a new bench with a table. Now, hold on a second, Jay. If you look right there, you can see a rock cliff. But right in here was where some of those where some of the mine works were. And that right there was probably a face for the mine. And the mine probably went under the ground right in that area here where all the dirt's piled up. But that rock face right there was probably above the mining entrance. And there's several spots up here that's like that. There we go. It says These are primitive plants that have spores instead of seeds. Seeds have food for baby plants, spores do not. Ferns. Fern leaves are called fronds. Most fronds are curled like a violin head when they first sprout and are called fiddleheads. There are at least 5 varieties of ferns around the lake. That's the ferns there. And of course these are mushrooms. One of the mushrooms there is the dry land fish. These are plants without roots, leaves, seeds, flowers, or chlorophyll. They grow and feed on trees, rotting wood, and leaves. Actually, they found that fungus, which are what mushrooms is, that they do have roots, but they're like hair thin. You ought to look that up sometime, the fungus and root systems. Mosses. They're usually very short plants without roots, stems, leaves, and seeds that grow very close together, forming thick green carpets in the woods in damp, shady places. And they've got pictures of the individual plants, but if you look right there, that's moss. All right there. Right there is ferns, and we saw some mushrooms on the trees back there a while ago. So we'll go on to the next sign. Here's another one of those mining break areas. If you look real close, you can see that that's not natural, that was something man did right there. There's a tree stump with some moss on it. We're almost at the dam, and the dam here is actually an earthen dam, and it's been here almost 100 years and not washed off yet. That really means something. But Jenkins Lake is made out of concrete and steel, the dam is. And this one is just piled up dirt over the end of the hollow, and the lake was allowed to fill in behind it. Coming up on another area here. Here we go, sign on the vernal wetlands. Says, known as a frog pond, this vernal wetland is a small, shallow, intermittently flooded depression in the forest and is usually only wet in the winter and early spring. Vernal pools are usually found where the rain exceeds evaporation. Again, if you look here on the mountain here, this is another mining break, and there's a pile of earth here in front of it. And what they're talking about is, right in behind there is a pond of water. We're not going to get out and look at it, but that's what they're talking about. There's a pond of water right over this little hill. I don't know if you can see the water there, but you can just barely see it. You see there's a cut here for it to flow out of so it doesn't get stagnant. Alright. Down here's another sheltered area. We got swing sets for the kids, picnic shelters. What is that called? Is it frisbee ball or?
Yeah, frisbee.
It's like basketball, but you play it with a frisbee. And again, you can see right here, this is another mine break area. I'm about driving on this stuff. So that mine break area up right there. And there's see the vernal wetlands right there that they were talking about. Little pond of water. Over in there. Right in there. See the rain blopping on it. Flora identification. Common blue violet. It is a smooth, low plant that grows in moist woods from March to June with 1/2 to 3/4 inch blue to white blossoms. Leaves are high in vitamins A and C and can be used in salad and cooked greens. That's the plant right there. Wild geraniums. Says it has lavender, 1 to 1.5 inch flowers in loose clusters blooming from April to June. It grows 1 to 2 foot tall in the woods and meadows. And over here, tall ironweed. It has a tall stem growing 3 to 7 feet tall and bears deep purple blue flowers. Heads that bloom from August to October. Iron refers to the toughness of the stem. And that's what it looks like. And again, all these plants are here. Right here at Fishpond Lake in Letcher County. Again, there's the mining break, the vernal wetlands that they were talking about. And all these things feed off into the lake. There's some very pretty flowers here. Over here's a picnic shelter, water fountain, and there looks like one of the old picnic shelter bases. Now look at these flowers, aren't they pretty? Purple, orange. I used to know what those were called. My grandmother grew them all the time. But you see all that stomped down in there and it looks like mud's been worn off in there. And there's other ones over here that's probably bare. They'll put trails through stuff like that and probably got into that vernal wetland there, that pond of water, and got mud all over him chasing frogs or something. And he come up here in this in these flowers and cleaned himself off. It says pollinator habitat. That's exactly what that is, a bear. Let's see some of that mining break here. No, that was watered out wide as this van. Now that going through that second thing, that might have been deer, but that first one, that was a bear. Do what? No. There's another little fishing area. Got a couple picnic tables down there, and that's a handicapped area. Which, that's pretty good. I might have to come up here and go fishing sometime. Maybe in June or July. I can't remember which it is, but they have open fish days, and they time it to do it with the state of Tennessee. because they are the twin states. They were both made states on the same day, and they share Lake Barkley and the Kentucky Lake, which is down out west on the Tennessee River. And out there, if you're from Tennessee or Kentucky, you can fish those two lakes with either or of the fishing license. And one day a year they have open fishing between both of the states. And we see some ducks down here. And looks like a swan or two, maybe. Them ducks think we got something for them. And this has all been put in since I was here. That little boat dock type thing here. You see the ducks coming and the babies, I guess it's babies. They saw us pull up and thought we were bringing them some food. There we go, birds. Birds, like all wildlife, need food, water, and shelter. This lake area is an excellent feeding and nesting place for many species of waterfowl, birds that swim, and other water birds, birds that wade and dive. Some of these include herons, snipes, mallards, coots, sandpipers, killdeer, kingfishers, and many more. Their diet includes frogs, fish, and insects that also call the lake home. And we get a good view of the lake here. There's the dam that we were talking about. Here's the lake itself. And I think we got one more sign to do. This is a sundial. I guess that's a emblem of Letcher County. It says sundial. Sundials tell sun time. A sundial indicates the time of day by the shadow cast onto a surface marked to show hours or fractions of hours. The shadow casting object is called a genome. Gnomon. Okay, so it's a gnomon. The sundial shows the solar or apparent time. Corrections between solar time and clock time must be based on the position of the sundial and the standard time meridian of the location. Special thanks to the Letcher County Recycling Center and employees for the donation and construction of this sundial. The latitude here is 37 degrees, 10 hours and 0 seconds, with a longitude of 83 degrees, 40 hours, and 0 seconds. I think I read that right. It may be 37 degrees, 10 feet, 0 inches, latitude 83 degrees, 40 feet, and 0 inches. And here comes the ducks again. They come from all the way over there a while ago. Saw us come over here and thought we were going to bring them some food over here. Watch them. They're taking baths, showing off. They're really working for that bread or whatever it is they expect me to throw down to them, and I don't have nothing for them. Sorry, guys. Thank you for watching it. This is Dave with Kentucky, Tennessee Living. We hope you enjoyed this tour, driving tour of Fishpond Lake, and continue to support Kentucky, Tennessee Living by watching our videos, visiting our website, and our Facebook page. Have a blessed day.